Hi everybody, it's Lisa. It's time again for another Verbling English class. In this hour, we're going to be having a reading class, and I've chosen an article from NPR, which is National Public Radio here in the United States, and it's about getting women more involved in technology. So I'm just going to make sure that that's set up. Okay, good. I'm going to put the link right now in the Verbling chat so people can start opening it. It's in a Google document, so I copied and pasted it from the NPR website, and then so you can go on that link, and I put it into the Google document so we can read it all together, and I can also put it in the screen share and make it bigger. So hi there, Jason. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Nice to meet you.
Good. Nice to see you. And Aisha, you're back?
Yes, I'm back.
Hey, it's kind of late over there in Montreal.
Yes, but I'm here.
You're here. Okay, good. All right. So, and Conrad's in the Verbling chat. See if he joins us. And Cesar may be joining us. If you would like to join this class, it's going to be a reading class. We're going to take turns reading an article. It's not so long. I had a really long article earlier today that I thought we could move through a little faster, but it took a while. It was a National Geographic article, so sometimes those can be quite involved and quite long. But this one is not as long, so I think we will have time to read through it and even discuss it a little bit and see what you guys think about it. So if you see the green Join Class button, which should be available pretty soon, click on that. If you had a reservation, then you can click on the blue button that says, I think it says Get Seat or something like that. So that's for you. I just want to make sure that everybody knows how the Verbling premium memberships work. You pay $25 a month, and what that lets you do is get reservations into classes. So there are some classes sometimes during the day that fill up pretty quickly, and so more and more people are becoming premium members, which means they can reserve a class ahead of time. But if you reserve a class then and you want to make sure that you get in, you have to go in the first 2 minutes of the class and actually get your reservation. You get your seat in the class, so to speak. And if you don't, then you'll have to come in when the other people are trying to get in also. So if you do get a reservation, make sure you use it in the first 2 minutes. Otherwise, it's not going to matter. Okay? All right, so let's just say hi to everybody and make sure that everybody's microphones are working. Let me remind everybody about the microphones. So you do not have to have your video camera on if you don't want to. I have it on so you can see me speaking and talking to you, but if you don't want to have your camera on, that's okay. The microphones, they should generally be muted because we hear background noise. So Jason, so some people are being muted right now, and that's because when you have your microphone on, we hear noise, and that makes it more difficult to hear each other, hear me speaking, and hear other people talking and reading. So it's a better idea to just leave your microphone muted, and then when it's your turn to read, or if you have a question and you want to talk, then go ahead and click on your microphone. There's lots of ways you can do it. You can click on the microphone up at the top of the Verbling chat box. Yours is up there. You can also just look at your picture down here, down below. If you look in your box, if you're muted, it'll have a little red microphone. You can click on that below there. And so there's lots of ways that you can mute and unmute yourself. And just want to make sure everybody knows how that works. So I'm going to say hi to everybody. I'm going to start over here this time on my right. Yeah, John, hold on. So make sure everybody's listening to my directions so that you know what's going on. We're going to introduce ourselves, and then we will start reading. In the meantime, you can click on this Google document link, and you can open it. But I'm going to say hi to Vicente first, and just make sure that your microphones are working. Hi, Vicente. How are you?
Hi, teacher. Hi, everybody. I am fine. Thank you.
Great. And Vicente, why don't you tell everybody where you're from?
I am from Brazil.
Okay, wonderful. And Selma, you're back. Hi, Selma. How are you today?
Hello, teacher. Thank you. Well, I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good. Tell everybody where you're from.
I am from Algeria, North Africa.
Okay, wonderful. And Paolo. Hi, Paolo. How are you?
Hi everyone. Good morning from Barcelona.
Oh, wow. Good morning. What time is it there?
6 o'clock. Well, 5 minutes past.
That's early.
Yeah, too early.
Okay, wonderful. Well, welcome from Barcelona, Spain. Jose, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm from Costa Rica.
Okay, well, Selma, what time is it where you are in Algeria? It's early too.
Yes, teacher. It is 5 a.m.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Tuesday morning.
Good
Johnny,
morning.
how are you doing? Hi, Johnny.
Hello everyone. Hi teacher.
Welcome.
Doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Tell everybody where you're from.
Okay. Hi everybody. My name is John. I'm from Brazil, São Paulo.
São Paulo. Okay, wonderful. And John, hi there, John. You're muted, so turn on your microphone. Go up above the Verbling. Whoa.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am from Peru.
From Peru. Okay. You have a lot of. Where are you?
Good.
Hey, are you in your house?
Yes.
Okay. Kind of. It sounds like a party's going on at your house. Are you having a party? You can read what Johnny says in the chat. Okay. But I'm going to mute you. There's a lot of noise in the background. So we muted you. Hi, Jason. How are you doing? Tell everybody where you're from. Jason? Jason looks like it looks like you're got a little frozen there, Jason. So let me. Okay. Hatil, how are you? Hatil?
Hello, teacher.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. And you?
Good. Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Oh, okay. Colombia. Great. Wonderful. Welcome. And Jason, did you turn your microphone on? Looked like it was starting to work again.
Yes, can you hear me now?
There you go. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
that's
can you
good.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Hello everyone, I'm teacher. Nice to meet you. It's my first time to join the class.
Jason, where are you from?
Oh, I come from China.
Mm-hmm. Are you living in
Yes.
China right now?
Yes, it's noon now.
Okay, noon. Nice. Okay. And Aisha, tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Montreal.
Okay, Canada. She's from Canada. John, I keep muting you just because there's a lot of noise in the background, and it's better if everybody keeps their microphone muted anyways. So that's why I muted you. Because we hear like some girls in the background, some noise. I don't know if it's the TV or something like that. But anyways, okay, let's see. Where's my thing here? I have to change it over to another thing. Okay, looks like everybody mostly has gone to the Google document for our reading selection today. So I'll just let people know that when we do reading in my class, I always pick articles that are usually the intermediate to advanced level. A lot of times you do pretty good reading. I help with the pronunciation, but also with the vocabulary. So even if it's a little bit difficult, oftentimes you can learn some new words and understand the article because I'm going to help you. I'm going to explain what some of the words mean and some of the phrases. So if you need to ask questions, that's totally okay. That's what you're here for. And so if you want help understanding something, let me know. This article, like I don't usually take super easy articles. They're kind of articles that everybody that is American would be able to read and that does read. So it's real life, real authentic English articles. So John, please keep your microphone muted until it's time for you to read, just because there's a lot of noise. Yeah, somebody's going to block you. They don't want to have you in the class if you can't keep your microphone quiet. It makes it hard for everybody to hear. Okay, so the title is How One College is Closing the Computer Science Gender Gap. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Maybe it's not something you know about or something you've been interested in. But what is going on here in the United States is that most of the time it's boys or men, young men, who go to college to study science, computer science, math, things like that. Oftentimes women do not study those things, and so there are people out there who want more women to be joining those fields, those industries, and going to college to study those topics. So this is one article that's talking about one college in California that is doing that. So they're trying to close the gap. So that's kind of a phrase that we use. If you close the gap, that means, for example, the gender gap is there's way too many men studying science and computer science and math and very, very few women. So there's a big gap between there. The gap is like a hole. And so we're trying to make it smaller or close it, which means getting more women to study these areas and having the men so it's more equal. Okay, so that's kind of what this article is about. The way I'm going to do it, because it's not too long, is I will read a paragraph at a time and I will highlight it when I'm reading it. You can watch it on the screen or you can watch it on your Google document, whatever works for you. I will read it out loud. When I read it, your job is to listen to how I pronounce the words, listen to how I have the rhythm of my language, because you're learning English, so you want to try to sound somewhat like me. You don't have to sound exactly like me. Everybody has their own style and their own accent, and that's totally okay. But you want to learn how to pronounce the words, so you can listen to me, and then I will call on you to read out loud. And then I'll probably go over some of the words and what it means, and if you have any questions, just ask. Okay, so here we go. There are still relatively few women in tech. Maria Klaw wants to change that. As president of Harvey Mudd College, a science and engineering school in Southern California, she's had stunning success getting more women involved in computing. Okay, Vicente?
Okay, there are still relatively few women in tech. Maria Clough wants to change that. As president of Harvey Mudd College, a science and engineering school in Southern California, she's had stunning success getting more women involved in computing.
Good. All right. So, relatively few. So, relatively means there's not that many women. Relatively few just is describing that there's not very many women in the field of technology. So, tech is short for technology. And so this lady, she's the president of one of these colleges, and it's a specific science and engineering in Southern California. She's had stunning success. That means wonderful success or amazing success or something that's just really surprising and good. So she's having success getting more women involved in, so more women learning about computer science, taking computer science classes, and that was one of her goals. Okay, Claw isn't concerned about filling quotas or being nice to women. Rather, she's deeply troubled that half the population is grossly underrepresented in this all-important field. Women aren't setting the agenda and designing products and services that are shaping our lives. They're getting only about 18% of the bachelor's degrees in computer science. And in the workplace, their numbers aren't much higher. Okay, Selma?
Chloe isn't concerned about filling quotas or being nice to women. Rather, she is deeply troubled that half the population is grossly underrepresented in this all-important field. Women aren't setting the agenda and designing products and services that are shaping our lives. They are getting only about 18% of the bachelor's degrees in computer science, and in the workplace, their numbers aren't much higher.
Right. Okay. So she isn't concerned. That means she doesn't care. She doesn't really care about filling quotas. So filling a quota means sometimes in education or other places they say, okay, you have to have 5% of your students be women, or 10%, or something like that. And so some people just are concerned about making sure that they fill that quota, 10% of women, for example, or something like that. But she doesn't care about that, and she's not trying to be nice to them. What she is she's deeply troubled. So that means she is concerned, does have concerns that women are grossly, which is women are half the population, 50% about, grossly underrepresented. Grossly means a lot, like really, very much. Underrepresented, that means they are not represented in the numbers. So if women are 50% of the population, but only like 18% of them are studying computer science, that means there's a lot fewer of them. There should be more, so that it's more equal. 50% men, 50% women, so they're underrepresented. And she's saying this is an all-important field. So the field of computer, a field is an area of study. So a field could be biology, or a field could be political science, or history, or engineering, something like that. And the reason why she's concerned is because this means that women aren't setting the agenda. When you are setting the agenda, that means you're the person putting stuff on the agenda, things to do. So instead, men are the ones running the computer, like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. They're setting the agenda for our future by creating products, designing products, services, and coming up with these things that really shape our lives. That means they affect and they make it, how computers, they shape our lives. By now we do most of our work in front of computers, and all of these things have in large part been done by men, not women. Okay, so only about 18% of the people who are getting the bachelor's degrees in computer science are women. It should be much higher, and it's not higher in the workplace either. So in the workplace and in colleges, it's mostly men. So that's what that's all about. I'm going to read now. Seated in her modest office on the Claremont, California campus, Claw, 61, reflects on the stereotype of computer scientists as antisocial nerds, saying it's out of date. But she is quick to add that women often face barriers, spoken and unspoken, that discourage them from entering the field. Okay, Paulo?
Okay. Seated in her modest office on the Claremont, California campus, Chloe, 61, reflects on the stereotype of computer scientists as antisocial nerds, saying it's out of date. But she's quick to add that women often face barriers, spoken and unspoken, that discourage them from entering the field.
Okay, thanks. So in her modest office, whenever you describe something as modest, it's just very plain or simple. It's not very fancy or extravagant. It's just plain. When she's reflecting on, I mean, she's thinking about it and telling you about it. So a lot of times there's a stereotype. A stereotype is a way that people think about other people. It's not necessarily true, but everybody kind of says it, and you see it in movies and TV and things like that. So the stereotype of a computer scientist is the antisocial nerd. So a lot of times they have a stereotype that people who study computer science, they just sit in front of their computers all day. They're kind of nerdy. They talk about things that other people wouldn't be interested in, and they're antisocial. That means they don't really like to go out and party or be with friends or things like that. But that's a stereotype, and she's saying that that's out of date. It means it's no longer useful or helpful, and it's not true, and basically we need to get on beyond that. But she's quick to add. So quick to add means that she also says, like in the interview, that women face barriers. Barriers are often things that get in your way. So women, the things that can get in women's way of coming into computer science can be spoken, and maybe there are things that people actually say to women, like you're not smart enough or you can't do the things that men can do. And sometimes it's unspoken. So maybe it's looks, things that people do, the way they treat women, and this kind of stuff discourages them. It makes them not want to go into the field, not enter the field of computer science. She recalls her own experience growing up in Canada, where she was a top university math student. Professors would say to me all the time, "Why do you want to be a mathematician, Maria? There are no good women mathematicians." And it just really bugged me, Claus says. Okay, Jose?
Okay. She recalls her own experience growing up in Canada, where she was a top university math student. Professor would say to me all the time, "Why do you want to be a mathematician, Maria? There are no good women mathematicians." And it just really bugged me, Claus says.
Yeah, good. So she was at a top university. A top university means one of the best ones in your country or in your area or something. So she was growing up in Canada, living there, and probably you'll understand all of this. She was studying math, and the guy was just telling her that women, you know, they're not good at math, and that really bugged me. So when something bugs you, it annoys you, it irritates you. You don't like it. So she didn't really like it when people would tell her those types of things. It bugged her. All right. And that helps explain a career choice she would make decades later. Back in 2005, Claw was thriving as dean of the engineering school at Princeton. But when Harvey Mudd College approached her about becoming the school's president, she was intrigued. She saw an opportunity to change science and engineering education. Okay, Johnny.
Okay. That helped explain a career choice she would make decades later. Back in 25, Claw was driven as dean of the engineering school at the Princeton. But when Harvey Mudd College approached her about to become the school president, she was intrigued. She saw an opportunity to change the science and the engineering education.
Yeah. So basically, decades later, so a decade, 10 years, so a couple of 10 years, 20, 30 years later, She was thriving. So thriving means she was doing very well. When you are thriving, you're just doing really great at whatever it is. You might be thriving in your job or thriving in your health. It means you're doing very well, because she was the dean of the engineering school at Princeton. So Princeton, as you know, is a top university in the United States, a very prestigious university. And to be the dean of the engineering school, that's like the head of the director of the engineering school. That's a very high position, and she was a woman, and she was in that position. But this college approached her. That means they came and talked to her, asked her about becoming the school's president. She was intrigued, which means she thought the idea sounded interesting. If you are intrigued about something, you are interested in it. You're like, that sounds kind of interesting. I might want to do that. So she saw an opportunity, a chance for her to make a difference in this education of women, especially. Okay, we're not attracting and retaining enough talent, and especially in areas like computer science. And I think what I recognized was this might be a place that could actually make a difference with that, Claus says. Okay, John, now you can unmute your mic and read this part right there. John? John? Go ahead. Yeah, you have to unmute your mic. Yeah. John, your microphone is not working. You have to unmute. So click on your microphone so that it's not red anymore. You want it to be gray so that we hear you. Yeah, he's reading this. You did it before, John. Click on the microphone so that it's not red. Okay. Okay, no. All right, Jason, why don't you read? I think John's not sure how to do it. Okay, we're not attracting.
We are not attracting and retaining enough talent, and especially in areas like computer science. And I think what I recognized was this might be a place that would actually make a difference with that color set.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Conrad, you have a question in the Verbling chat that says, "What's the difference between I was raised as Catholic and growing up as Catholic?" Raised means that your parents raised you, so that means that's how they parented you, and they raised you as a Catholic or Christian or whatever. But if you grew up, that just describes what you were doing as you were getting older, as you were growing up as a child. So it's a little bit different meaning. Okay? All right, so we're not attracting and retaining. When you attract people, that means they are interested in you. That school was not attracting, or in general, girls were not wanting to study computer science. The women were not attracted to computer science. And they weren't retaining. Retaining means keeping. So you want to keep your talent. They were maybe some people started, but then they left. Okay, so what she recognized, or what she saw, was that she could maybe make a difference, basically, in this smaller school. Okay. Just 800 students and an emphasis on teaching, Claude believed that MUD would be an ideal laboratory. Okay, I'm going to leave that one there and read this here. Finding a passion in computer science. More than 100 students are paying rapt attention in calling Lewis's second semester computer science course, and a lot of them are women. A lot of universities have this kind of weed out class, says Kate Finley, a student at nearby Scripps College, who's taking Lewis's course. The first class you take is a weed out class, and they are shocked by the fact that they don't get any women at the end. But the only people at the end are the people who have been in computer camp since they were 5. Okay, Hudson? That's a long one you got there. Finding a passion in computer science.
Okay. Finding a passion in computer science, more than 100 students are paying rapt attention in Colin Levy's second semester computer science course, and a lot of them are women. A lot of universities have this kind of without class, says Kate Finlay, a student at nearby Scripps College who's taken Lewis' course. The first class you take is a without class, and they are shocked by the fact they don't get any women at the end. But the only people at the end are the people who have been in computer camps since they were 5.
Right. Okay, so what she's saying here is what happens usually in these computer science classes is that they have a weed out class. So when you weed somebody out, that means you find out who's good and who's not so good, and then the people at the end who are left over at the course, they're the ones who were good, because everybody else pretty much dropped out because they were not very good, and they couldn't do the class. So that's called weeding out. And they are shocked when shocked means surprised, like what happened? And at the end, there's no women. But what she's saying that the reason why this happens is because a lot of the computer science courses are taught, and the best people are the ones who have been going to computer camp, or basically saying they've been studying computers since they were 5 years old. So they've had a lot more experience. But what's happening is they're offering a different type of computer science course. So this lady here, Colleen Lewis, is giving a different type of course for people who haven't been studying computers for so long. So it's a more of an introductory course, and they're paying rapt attention. If you are paying rapt attention, it means like you're really interested. You want to hear what's going on. You're very curious. So you're not talking in class. You really want to hear what the teacher has to say. That's what it means to pay rapt attention. Okay. So what Harvey Mudd, remember that's the name of the college, not a person, what Harvey Mudd recognized and explicitly addressed were ways to get women interested in computer science. So students like Finlay, who've never been to computer camp, have their own introductory classes. The kids with experience have theirs. Know-it-alls in any section are told to cool it, so no one is intimidated. As for the content, Finlay says it's designed around problems they can relate to. Okay, Aisha, you're back.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
What Harvey Mudd recognized and explicitly addressed were ways to get women interested in computer science. So students like Finlay who never been to computer camp have their own introductory classes. The kids with experience have theirs. Now it's all in any section are taught to code it so no one is intimidated. As for the content, Finlay says it's designed around problems they can relate to.
Yeah. So the school recognized and explicitly addressed. So what that means is to address something is they wanted to solve the problem. So they recognized the problem and they explicitly addressed it. That means they very specifically made a specific plan to solve the problem. And what they did was to teach a different type of introductory class. So an introduction to something is when you're first learning about it. So of course, by the time you get to college, there are lots of people who probably have had lots of computer classes or studies or just been very interested in computers, but a lot of times probably women haven't been that interested. They probably haven't played as many video games as their brothers or their friends that are boys or something. So now they're giving these women this type of class. And the kids with more experience, so maybe the men or the young men who've been using computers for many years. They have their own class. Know-it-all. So a know-it-all is a person who thinks they know it all and they answer all the questions and everything. So those type of people, know-it-alls, in any section or any class are told to cool it. To cool it means to stop. So if they're always solving all the problems that the teacher wants them to solve, they told them to stop doing that so that the other kids in the class or students don't get intimidated. If you are intimidated, it means you feel like you don't know enough, you don't really know what to say, so you don't talk and you basically kind of drop out. So they don't want people feeling intimidated. They want people feeling curious, interested, and confident so they can learn. Okay, and the courses are designed around problems they can relate to. So to relate to something means that you understand it. It's like part of your life, so it's not so foreign to them. And she gives an example here. She says, they had all these really fun assignments. Sound editing Darth Vader's voice. Every single answer on the quizzes was 42 in a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Finley says. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Okay, Vicente, why don't you read that part there?
Okay, they had all these really fun assignments. Sound editing Darth Vader's voice. Every single answer on the quizzes was 42, in a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Finlay says it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Mm-hmm. So, do you guys know Darth Vader in Star Wars? So, that's a reference to Luke's father in the Star Wars series, the bad guy. So they were editing his voice. And she just makes reference to some fun things. Finlay, who had planned to study art and psychology, found a new passion in computer science. Along with changes to the introductory courses, Mudd works hard to keep women interested in the field. First-year students attend a giant conference for women in computing. There are research opportunities and coursework that involve solving real problems for major companies. Okay, Selma?
Finlay, who had planned to study art and psychology, found a new passion in computer science. Along with changes to the introductory courses, Mudd works hard to keep women interested in the field. First-year students attend a giant conference for women in computing. These are research opportunities and coursework that involve solving real problems for major companies.
Keep going.
Technology experts like Alan
Stays,
a senior vice president at Google, are applauding the initiatives.
Yeah. Okay, so not only is she trying to get them interested by offering these different types of introductory courses, but also she's working hard. So when you work hard to do something, that means you're just trying a lot of different things to keep women interested. To keep somebody interested in something, you have to sometimes find all different types of ways to keep them coming back for more. So the first-year students go to a conference, so that's where a place where women are coming, women who are interested in computing and that are using that, working in the computer science technology industry. So they get to go to a conference, so that is inspiring for them probably. And there's also research opportunities, so chances for them to do some actual real research, maybe figure something out. And they have coursework, that's the work you do for your classes, that you're trying to solve real problems for major companies like, for example, and people like this guy here, Alan Eustace. is applauding the initiative. So he's basically saying that he likes it. When you applaud, that's clap your hands together, and you're basically saying that you like what's happening. So the initiatives are the new things that she's doing, like the courses and the conference and that kind of thing. So he says, I think they're fantastic, Eustace says. He also cites Mudd's rigorous academics and the critical mass of women studying together. They also have great female instructors, and I think that makes a difference. Harvey Mudd is an example of what I consider a model for the future, he says. Okay, let's see, Paulo.
Okay. I think they're fantastic, Eustace says. He also cites much rigorous academics and the critical mass of women studying together. They also have great female instructors, and I think that makes a big difference. Harvey Mudd is an example of what I consider a model for the future, he says.
Good. So a critical mass, that means when you've hit it, makes it really really successful. So the critical mass of women that are studying together. Rigorous means difficult. So oftentimes universities try to convince you that they have rigorous academic learning. That means they have very difficult classes and you're going to learn a lot. So that's what rigorous means. Tough, hard, or difficult. And any other words here? Maybe model for the future. If you're a model for the future, that means people will want to do what you are doing. So that's what he's saying about this Harvey Mudd College. Much of this might sound pretty basic, but the approach is highly unusual in higher education, and the efforts have paid off. At Mudd, about 40% of the computer science majors are women. That's far more than at any other co-ed school. Okay, Jose?
Much of this might sound pretty basic, but the approach is highly unusual in higher education, and the efforts have paid off. At Mudd, about 14% of the computer science majors are women. That's far more than at any other co-ed school.
Yeah. So all of this stuff might sound basic or kind of like not really that big a deal, but it's actually highly unusual. It means it's not happening very often in higher education. Higher education refers to college and university. And the efforts, your effort is what you've been trying to do. And if it pays off, that means it's worked. So it has paid off, it has worked. And the reason why they know it's working is because now it's a much higher number of women in computer science majors studying computer science. So it's 40%, whereas before it was like 18%. And that's far more, so that's a lot more, far lot more than at any other co-ed school. So co-ed, co-educational, it's boys and girls, men and women together studying. It's not just an all-girls school or an all-men, all-boys school. Okay. As for the male students here, they seem to appreciate and value having more women in their computer science courses. Women and men work through problems in very different ways, says Luke Mastali Kelly. Men will oftentimes just try to pound through a problem, and then one of the women will be, wait, hold on, how about if I ask this question? Okay. Jeffrey. Oh, okay, Jeffrey, you have too much noise. Okay, Jason, you want to read that for us?
Okay. As for the male students here, they seem to appreciate and value having more women in their computer science courses. Women and men work through problems in very different ways, says Luke. mathematically. Men were often times just try to solve a problem, and then one of the women will be wait, hold on, how about if I ask this question?
Yeah. Okay, so the male students are appreciating. That means they're liking it. They think it's a good idea, and they value, which means they think it's important. When you value something, it's part of something that you think is important. So they like having their women there because they do things differently. So they work through problems in different ways. And here he's talking here, so he says men will oftentimes just try. Okay, Jason, I'm going to mute you there. Okay, they will pound through a problem. So sometimes men will be just like, this is how we're going to do it, and that's it. And they'll just like want to finish the problem and fix it and just get it done. But then the women will be, so this is a kind of a slangy way of talking. He says, and then one of the women will be. Well, really it should be like one of the women will say, but a lot of times when you're talking in slang or very informally, you will say, oh yeah, the women, they'll be like, you know, wait, hold on, and then you'll just say what the person would say. So that's right here is this part is what the woman would say. So the women will be means really the women will say, wait, hold on. So they bring different ideas, different ways of dealing with their problems, and maybe a different way to solve the problems. Their questions can lead to further exploration and perhaps a more elegant solution. Indeed, technology companies say they want more women because diverse teams often do a better job of solving problems and creating things. I want to do that. Senior Jess Hester was one of several female computer science students who offered their views on why there are so few women in their field. Okay, I'm going to give you that, Aisha. How about all of that?
The questions can lead to further exploration and perhaps a more elegant solution. Indeed, technology companies say they want more women because diverse teams often do a better job of solving problems and creating things. I want to do that. Senior Jess Hester was one of several female computer science students who offered their views on why there are so few women in their field.
Mm-hmm. Okay, something can lead to, that means you can, so if the women are asking questions, then it can take you somewhere else. So it can lead you to somewhere else, to further exploration, which means you're going to try new ideas, try something different, and maybe a more elegant solution. So when you talk about computer engineering, computer science, they talk about solutions, and when you describe a solution to a problem as elegant, it means it's works very well. It's maybe uses less code, or is simple, or it just works really well. So that's a common word, or common two words together, a phrase called elegant solution. Oh, that's a nice solution. Okay, it works really well. Solution is how you solve the problem. And diverse. Diverse, or if something is diverse, it just means there's more points of view. So women and men working together is more diverse than just men working alone. And so yeah, so now they're going to talk about a few things that some of these women students have to say. They offer their view. That means what they think or how they see it. Okay? They bemoaned middle and high school math teachers who didn't engage or inspire. They recounted conversations with adults who told them men are better at this, and they shared some apprehension about working in a male-dominated environment. Okay, Yang Jun, you want to read?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The Beyond middle and high schools math teacher who didn't engaged or inspired. They recorded conversations with adults who told them men are better at it, and they share some apprehensions and working in a male-dominated environment.
Okay, great. So yeah, they bemoaned middle and high school math teachers. They complained about them. They complained saying, oh, they didn't engage us. That means they didn't really inspire. They didn't make us want. Math is boring. So they're saying that that's one reason why girls don't study computer science, because their math teachers were kind of just not very fun or very interesting. They recounted, that means they told stories, they told about conversations they had with other adults saying that men are better at this kind of thing. And they shared apprehension. Apprehension is like when you're nervous. So it could be like nervousness, maybe. You know, women, not all women are feel comfortable working in an environment that's mostly men or all men. Male dominated means that there's mostly men in that work environment. So you can imagine that sometimes not a lot of women want to go into a big office and just work with all men. So that's why these people are interested in having more women there, so it'll be women and men. Okay. If you fail, it's not just you. It is you as like a sacrificial lamb for your whole gender. It's just like a bucket of stress that we don't need, Hester says. But I also want little kids to look up and be like, awesome, I want to do that. Okay. Selma? Or, sorry, Vicente?
Okay, if you fail, it's not just you. It's you as like a sacrificial lamb for your whole gender. It's just like uh,
A bucket?
a bucket of stress that we don't need, Hester says. But I also want little kids to look up and be like, awesome, I want to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a quote. So this is another young woman talking here. So she's using very kind of slangy words or colloquial, informal language. So she's saying it's not just you. If you fail, it's not just you. It's like you're failing for your whole gender. So that your gender is your sex if you're a girl or a man or a woman. You're a sacrificial lamb. So that's kind of like the old days. They would sacrifice a lamb for something, you know, maybe in the religious ceremonies or something like that a long time ago. So that's what she's talking about. So you're the one up there, and if you fail, it's going to be like, oh, women can't do this because of women, you know, she's a girl and she failed. So she says it's like a bucket of stress. She's just making an image of like it's a lot of stress. So a bucket is something you like fill water. You could fill a bucket full of water or something. You can imagine filling it full of stress. It's just so stressful. And she says that we don't need. So we don't need to feel so stressful. But on the other hand, she's saying, but I also want kids to look up and be like. So that's another like, be like, and then you say what they would say. So you could, awesome. You know, she wants little girls to look up to her and say, I want to be like that, or I want to do what she did. So that's inspiring to her. And that would be music to Claw's ears. She says, if you can make computer science interesting to women, empower them so they believe they can succeed, and then show them how their work can make a difference in the world, that's almost enough to change everything. Okay, Selma?
Yes, teacher. And that would be music to Claw's ears. She says, if you can make computer science interesting to women, empower them so they believe they can succeed, and then show them how their work can make difference in the world, that's almost enough to change everything.
Yeah. So that's one of her main goals. And so to be music to your ears, so that's what she's saying is this would be music to her ears. If young people would say, awesome, I want to do that, if young girls especially, then that would be like music to her ears. That's a phrase that we use in English when You say that sounds like music to my ears. It's something that you like. It's something that you wanted to hear. It's just very pleasing to you. You're very happy about it. So she would be very happy to hear those words, okay? Because that's what she wants to do. She wants to make computer science interesting to women. She wants to empower them. So when you empower somebody, you give them what?
To enhance it or make it stronger.
Yeah. You empower her. If you feel empowered, it means like you feel like I can do that. I'm really good at, I'm confident. I can do it. So she wants to help people feel that way, to feel empowered, like they can succeed at whatever they want to do. And then she's going to show them that you can make a difference in the world. And so Claw is now working on a new project, a massive open online course, or MOOC, aimed at 10th graders. So in the United States, 10th graders are about age 15, 16 years old. It's just one more way the president of Harvey Mudd hopes to get more women at the technology table. Okay, Jose, you get the last paragraph there.
Okay. Chloe is now working on a new project, a massive open online course, or MOOC, aimed at 10th graders. It's just one more way the president of Harvey Mudd hopes to get more women at the technology table.
Yep. So now she's working on this new thing. You guys have probably heard Verbling is kind of like an MOOC, massive open online course. So these are becoming more and more popular. You can take courses. Well, you're going to be able to take them on Verbling pretty soon. Teachers are going to start creating some courses. And also you can take all kinds of courses online. Some are free, some are not free, but they're available now. You don't have to just go to colleges or universities or schools to learn things. And so she's making one of these courses, and it's aimed at. So that means when we use the word it's aimed at, so you could just put in the word graders. So those are the people that she's trying to get interested in this course. And it's just another thing that she's doing to get women at the technology table. So to get somebody to come to the table means to come in and do what you are wanting them to do. So the technology table, she wants them to come and learn about technology, computer science, things like that. So yeah. So now we have about 3 minutes left, so we were able to get through the whole article. And I'm just wondering if anybody has any comments. If you want to tell me, do you think it's a good idea that more women learn how to do computer science? Is that something that you think is a good idea? Is it important? What's it like in your country? What do women typically study or do? Anybody want to throw in a couple of words here in our last few minutes we have? Selma? Okay, Ali, you just joined us. How you have some ideas?
Yeah. I think that women need to work like these jobs, technology jobs like computers, computer science, or these jobs, because they cannot trade with, they cannot do actions jobs.
Oh, okay, like physical labor, you mean?
Like mechanical or these jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea for them to learn how to do computer programming.
Yeah, exactly.
Ali, where are you from?
I'm from Saudi Arabia.
So what's it like in Saudi Arabia with the women? What do they typically do?
Most of them are teachers. A few are like work at banks or They usually use computers to work. So
okay. Yeah. Aisha, what do you think, being a woman, what do you think about the idea of more women studying computer science?
I think it's good, but they should be it, more attractive to women. They should interest women more because I think they will love to do that. But it's like when you talk about office clerk, they say it's a more female job, but it's not. The man can be an office clerk, but I think it's just this stereotype, like we said before.
Yeah, yeah. Selma, what do you think? Selma? Your microphone's muted. Okay. Anybody else? Jeffrey, or your microphone's not working? Jose or Young? Anybody have, what do you think about it? John keeps trying to join. We're kind of running out.
Yes. I think if they like it, they can do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's important the vocation. If they are really good in that, if they like it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the main things that the article is trying to say is that women or girls, young girls growing up, probably do like it. They just haven't been encouraged or taught in a way that shows them how interesting it can be. And when they are taught in that way, then it's interesting to them, and so they like it. Not everybody's going to like it, just like not all the guys like it. So for the people who are interested in it, women especially, they just need to know that it exists and that it can be fun and they can do it, because it really is, in the United States at least, a lot of girls believe that they're not as good. A lot of girls, they're not as good in math as boys or men are. So it's kind of changing your way of thinking about what girls can do, what boys can do, that kind of thing. So, yep. So we'll see. The life keeps changing. Women are doing a lot more things than they used to do. So maybe they'll keep doing more things as girls grow up and they want to do all the interesting things that there are to do in life. So we'll see. All right, you guys. The class is over. Thank you for coming and spending this hour with me and reading. And I hope you enjoyed the article and you got to practice your English. Thank you for reading. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me on my Facebook page, my Verbling teacher Facebook page. And I have a couple of classes tomorrow, the next day. So most days I have at least 1 or 2 or 3 classes. So if you want to come to another class, then I would be happy to have you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All your classes are reading and writing, reading classes?
I have a lot of reading, writing, speaking. So like today earlier we just were having a conversation. Sometimes I do games. Sometimes I do listening classes where you're practicing listening and then talking about what you understood. So practicing your comprehension.
Cool.
Yeah. So all different kinds.
Cool.
Hey everybody, welcome to another class. What we're going to do now is...
Looks like they started again. Okay.
Everybody, I'm fine, thank you.
Great. And Vicente, why don't you tell everybody where you're from?
I am from Brazil.
Okay, wonderful. And Selma, you're back. Hi, Selma. How are you today?
Hello, teacher. Thank you. Well, I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good. Tell everybody where you're from.
I am from Algeria, North Africa.
Okay, wonderful. And Paolo. Hi, Paolo. How are you?
Hi everyone. Good morning from Barcelona.
Oh, wow. Good morning. What time is it there?
6 o'clock. Well, 5 minutes past.
That's early.
Yeah, too early.
Okay, wonderful. Well, welcome from Barcelona, Spain. Jose, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm from Costa Rica.
Okay, well, Selma, what time is it where you are in Algeria? It's early too.
Yes, teacher, it is 5 a.m.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Tuesday morning. Johnny, how are you doing? Hi, Johnny.
Hello, everyone. Hi, teacher.
Welcome.
Doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Tell everybody where you're from.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is John. I'm from Brazil, São Paulo.
São Paulo. Okay, wonderful. And John, hi there, John. You're muted, so turn on your microphone. Go up above the verbling. Whoa.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am from Peru.
From Peru. And talking to you, but if you don't want to have your camera on, that's okay. The microphones, they should generally be muted because we hear background noise. So, Jason, so some people are being muted right now, and that's because when you have your microphone on, we hear noise, and that makes it more difficult to hear each other, hear me speaking, and hear other people talking and reading. So it's a better idea to just leave your microphone muted, and then when it's your turn to read, or if you have a question and you want to talk, then go ahead and click on your microphone. There's lots of ways you can do it. You can click on the microphone up at the top of the Verbling chat box. Yours is up there. You can also just look at your picture down here, down below. If you look in your box, if you're muted, it'll have a little red microphone. You can click on that below there. And so there's lots of ways that you can mute and unmute yourself. And just want to make sure everybody knows how that works. So I'm going to say hi to everybody. I'm going to start over here this time on my right. Yeah, John, hold on. So make sure everybody's listening to my directions so that you know what's going on. We're going to introduce ourselves, and then we will start reading. In the meantime, you can click on this Google document link, and you can open it. But I'm going to say hi to Vicente first, and just make sure that your microphones are working. Hi, Vicente. How are you?
Hi, teacher. Hi.
Hi, everybody. It's Lisa. It's time again for another Verbling English class. In this hour, we're going to be having a reading class, and I've chosen an article from NPR, which is National Public Radio here in the United States, and it's about getting women more involved in technology. So I'm just going to make sure that that's set up. Okay, good. I'm going to put the link right now in the Verbling chat so people can start opening it. It's in a Google document, so I copied and pasted it from the NPR website, and then so you can go on that link, and I put it into the Google document so we can read it all together, and I can also put it in the screen share and make it bigger. So hi there, Jason. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Nice to meet you.
Good. Nice to see you. And Aisha, you're back?
Yes, I'm back.
Hey, it's kind of late over there in Montreal.
Yes. But I'm here.
You're here. Okay, good. All right. So, and Conrad's in the Verbling chat. See if he joins us. And Cesar may be joining us. If you would like to join this class, it's going to be a reading class. We're going to take turns reading an article. It's not so long. I had a really long article earlier today that I thought we could. Okay, you have a lot of. Where are you?
Good.
Hey, are you in your house?
Yes.
Okay. Kind of. It sounds like a party's going on at your house. Are you having a party? You can read what Johnny says in the chat. Okay. But I'm going to mute you. There's a lot of noise in the background. So we muted you. Hi, Jason. How are you doing? Tell everybody where you're from. Jason? Jason looks like... It looks like you're got a little frozen there, Jason. So let me. Okay. Hatil, how are you? Hatil?
Hello, teacher.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. And you?
Good. Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Oh, okay. Colombia. Great. Wonderful. Welcome. And Jason, did you turn your microphone on? Looked like it was starting to work again.
Yes, can you hear me now?
There you go. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
that's good.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Hello everyone, I'm teacher. Nice to meet you. It's my first time to join the class.
Could move through a little faster, but it took a while. It was a National Geographic article, so sometimes those can be quite involved and quite long. But this one is not as long, so I think we will have time to read through it and even discuss it a little bit and see what you guys think about it. So if you see the green Join Class button, which should be available pretty soon, click on that. If you had a reservation, then you can click on the blue button that says, I think it says Get Seat or something like that. So that's for you. I just want to make sure that everybody knows how the Verbling premium memberships work. You pay $25 a month, and what that lets you do is get reservations into classes. So there are some classes sometimes during the day that fill up pretty quickly, and so more and more people are becoming premium members, which means they can reserve a class ahead of time. But if you reserve a class then and you want to make sure that you get in, you have to go in the first 2 minutes of the class and actually get your reservation, you get your seat in the class, so to speak. And if you don't, then you'll have to come in when the other people are trying to get in also. So if you do get a reservation, make sure you use it in the first 2 minutes. Otherwise, it's not going to matter. Okay? All right, so let's just say hi to everybody and make sure that everybody's microphones are working. Let me remind everybody about the microphones. So you do not have to have your video camera on if you don't want to. I have it on so you can see me speak